Hey, it's February 20th and it's 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So we are in the middle of a little blip of warmth here in Massachusetts. It is an incredibly warm day today. Tomorrow it is supposed to hit 70 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a perfect time to get in these hives and see what's going on. I'm going to open these two hives and check on stores because they are very clearly booming, flying around today. Unfortunately, Russian hive left is gone. There's no activity. I haven't seen activity in a couple of weeks on this hive. So I'm going to go in here first and we're going to check this out and see if we can see what happened. So in the last video I posted, I really do believe that I heard noise in this hive. It was back in second week of January, about a month ago. And then I stopped seeing any activity in this hive. There was no evidence of bees out front, so they probably died around that time. I'm going to just get in here and see how big the cluster is or was, if there's bees in there, and let's get into it. All right, this is fondant I put on the hive back in November, I think, when I closed this hive up. I can see what looks like might have been a cluster right here. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think this hive lasted very long into the winter because, I mean, this is all uncapped, but it's very full. There's a lot of food in here, and this is the remnants of the cluster. They were right up at the top. They definitely ate this frame. Look, there's some brood. There's some brood emerging. Partially emerged. Yeah, it looks like they had a very small cluster up at the top here at the end. There's the queen. The cluster got too small. They were at the tip top here of the hive, and there's the queen right there. So they were up here in their last moments. They definitely didn't starve. I would also just like to show you guys the bottom of the inner cover of the Vivaldi board here. What would usually be covered with mold, bone dry, no mold. So I like the Vivaldi board. If there was any moisture in this hive up on the inner cover, which there wasn't, it went right up this hole and out. This is completely clean and dry. Honestly, doesn't look like as many bees as were in here in the fall. Bottom of hive left. I do not see a lot of mites, like dead mites or hive beetles. Actually, I don't see any mites. Sorry, hive left. All right, let me get into the Italian hive. All right, this is the Italian Balboa hive. We're checking for stores. This is a hopping hive. This hive is just amazing. They still have 2 more months of winter here, but if they make it, which, you know, it seems like they will at this point, it'll be their second winter. Dry inner cover on the inside of the Vivaldi board. Dry burlap, and oh wow, it's totally dry inside the Vivaldi board. Look at that. Just amazing. That is a booming hive right there. Holy cow. I'm just gonna see if I can lift the hive at all. Not very heavy. Yeah, I believe that this hive is probably a little bit low on food. All right, I'm gonna close these up. I don't want to disturb the wrapping and the boxes and everything, so I'm just gonna close them up I think what I'm going to try and do is put a couple frames out for these bees to maybe try and fill up on a little honey, because it's going to be very warm today and tomorrow, and they can maybe grab a little honey from the frames I took out of the other hive. I'm going to keep the fondant on here, but they're definitely getting low on honey in here. Alright, I'm using a shim here because the fondant's a little thick. Alright, a lot of sugar in there now. Okay, Russian hive right. The top of the Vivaldi board. No moisture. Dry. No mold. Hello. They're very excited. Woohoo! Hoppin' hive. Alright, they have a ton of fondant in here. I'm going to try and give them some frames from the other Russian hive. If these are empty up here, I'm going to drop in a few of the... Just got whacked by 2 Russians. Those were tough stings, so they get the smoke. Alright, I'm here to help, bees. I am here to help. So my plan is to take out a couple of empty frames here, if they are empty, and yeah, that is an empty frame. It's a solid honey frame right there. These bees have a lot of honey in here. I'm not so worried about this hive. These are all full frames, so this hive is good. Alright, so the deal is I set up a little robbing station in front of the Italian hive. The Italian hive is all medium frames, and the honey that I have from hive left is all deeps. So I can't put these frames into this hive, even though this hive is feeling extremely light. So I put the frames right in front of the hive, and they're doing a great job. They're just taking what they can and getting back in the hive. So Russian hive right is packed with honey, and the bees are very active and defensive. And they may be on these frames too, but this is mainly the Italians. They have this afternoon, and they have all day tomorrow. It's going to be extremely warm here, warmer than today. Alright, it's been an amazing day. You know, good news, bad news. The bad news is Russian hive left did not make it through the winter. I kind of sensed that about a month ago. I sort of felt like, you know, we may have problems over the winter with all that varroa we found back in September, October. But the queen was in the hive, so they didn't swarm or do anything like that. It just looks like they didn't make it. There was a lot of honey in the hive. The cluster at the very top was very tiny. There were a lot of bees on the bottom board, and, you know, what are you going to do? Great news is the Balboa hive is slamming. Russian hive right is slamming. Everything looks great in those hives. Hive right is still full of honey. All the frames are heavy. Things look great there. The Balboa hive was very light, and a lot of the frames I lifted up were pretty thin. So I put the honey from hive left out there for them to rob. I can't put those frames into the Italian hive because the Italian hive is all medium boxes, and those frames are deeps. And I did not want to really disturb the Italian hive by taking the whole thing apart, because that would be a big mess, and they don't need that disturbance today. So I put the frames out front. They can rob them. They have today and they have all day tomorrow to try and clean those frames off. And they should probably make a lot of progress because there's a ton of bees in that hive. I know I probably shouldn't put open frames in the middle of the bee yard, but I don't really have anything else I can do with them. And there's a lot of honey on there. And it's only for today and tomorrow, and then I'm taking them in. So, sorry about that. So I gotta say, today's kind of a relief. Unfortunately, we lost one, but two look amazing. So That's the news. I will check in with you when I have more news. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.